everyone, I'm Professor Geek. Welcome back to the channel. I make a lot of videos on my channel talking about how we need to stop consuming these horrible movies. Stop even going to see them just to see how bad they are. Stop going to see them because you just want to hear what everybody's talking about. Stop even pirating them, like, why didn't spend money on it? No, it still is a problem. I talk about that quite a bit. And I get this one specific argument sometimes. The first time I heard it, it's so absurd to me that I thought, well, that's maybe like one or two people out there who actually think that. Didn't even think anything about it. But I'm starting to see it more and more, and I don't know if it comes from a specific person who's postulating this idea, or if it's just, one of the justifications people come about. But the reasoning is this. Look, we have to go see these movies. How are we going to learn how to write good stories if we don't experience and watch the bad stories? And they give you that reasoning like it's just so absolutely clear. Duh. We've got to go see the bad stories if we're ever going to write good stories. And again, the only word it's so absurd to me. Now, let me be fair, because I think they might try to argue with me at this point, and I'm willing to concede this. Certainly, you learn from your mistakes as a writer, and you learn from other people's mistakes as writers. Absolutely. Can you learn from seeing a bad story, reading a bad story, whatever? Absolutely, sure. Just like anything in life, you learn how to appreciate. Like, if all you ever tasted was amazingly crafted chocolate cake, that was just the only thing you ever tasted, then you might enjoy it, but you wouldn't appreciate it or know why you enjoy it as much as if occasionally you tasted a cake that wasn't quite as good, and then you start to realize, oh, well, I like it a little sweeter, or I like it more with dark chocolate, or, you learn those things. Sure. Absolutely. I'll concede that 100%. But the notion that you have to go pay for or watch, tweet about, or whatever, support the drivel that Hollywood's putting out right now, the notion that that's your only way to get bad stories to learn from is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know where people make this connection. Hey, we've got to watch these. That's just this thinly veiled defense. They really want to go see and find out what everybody's talking about so they can be in the know and they can watch their favorite YouTubers lambast it and everything. Everything I've been saying, it's such a thinly veiled justification. Because if you put the time, money, and energy in that you would normally put into going to see these movies, to talking about them, if you put that into actually being a part of a workshop, a writer's workshop, whether you pay for one professionally or just grab some friends or whatever, online, in person, whatever, this is very easy to do. You will grow light years faster as a writer. That's just a given. How you learn from mistakes in your own writing or others is by reading or watching and then commenting on it. And giving it back to the readers, and then you receiving that kind of feedback on yours from other people. So then you can learn from the mistakes that you saw in the other person's draft, but then they can point out the mistakes that they learned from looking at your draft. And newsflash, doesn't matter how long you've been writing, the first draft of every one of your stories is a bad story. You do not need to go out of your door or run to the theater or make sure you pirate the latest movie from Hollywood to get your dose of appropriate bad stories to learn from. That notion is absurd. I don't know where this came from. That's a mystery to me. I wasn't even going to address it because it seems so ridiculous, but I've been seeing it a lot. And I just thought, it deserves commenting. I talk a lot on my channel about consume stories responsibly, because I say that the type of stories you fill yourself or spend time around, these are the stories that are going to have an effect on you psychologically, and they're ultimately going to have effect in our society, the ones that we as a society kind of really rally around at any given time. So if we're just doing nothing but nihilistic or really gritty and dark stories, well, the world kind of becomes a dark place around us, for sure. But the same thing is even more abundantly true as writers. If you're a writer, you kind of, as a writer, you kind of are what you read. It's the same thing about, you are what you eat. So, yeah, occasionally, you taste the bad chocolate cake every now and then so that you know what's good about the chocolate cake you like, sure. But no, you spend your time seeking out good stories, seeking out the ones that you know are going to be quality, and that's what you spend your spare time reading and your spare time watching or whatever. That's what you really learn from. You learn from that much, much better. You are what you become as a writer. And workshopping is invaluable. I don't mention that lightly, or just no coincidence that I mention that, because that's really how you grow as a writer too, once you're ready for that stage, or once you find writers around you that are available. You learn by getting feedback on your own story, and you learn by giving feedback to other writers on their stories, but that give and take, that's what grows you as a writer. You never get to a point, as I've said, where you know, now I've watched enough good and bad stories. Now I'm just a writer. I can churn out good stuff. No, that's not how writing works. The most skilled, experienced, you know, Chuck Dixon, you know, great writer, incredibly prolific. The first draft of anything he writes is probably mostly garbage. Not in terms of his ideas or anything, but that's the truth of writing. Your first draft contains all the DNA of the good stuff. And as you get better, it'll contain a lot more good stuff. But even the most skilled and prolific writer needs to revise that first draft. You never get to that point. You always need feedback. You always need other readers. You always need that one-on-one kind of feedback for your own writing. It's not just about going out and you know, watching some bad stories to make sure you don't repeat their mistakes. How does that even work? How does that even literally translate? You know, well, I saw Love and Thunder, so now I know not to what? Did you really need to see Love and Thunder to know not to do that? Thin argument. So it's a short video, but I just wanted to react to that because it just struck me as so odd, and I am seeing more and more people try to use that as justification. But that's all I've got now. Very short video for today. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the good quality hero stories you love best.